Hello, beautiful people. Hope everybody's had a great week. I want to say thank you guys. I really appreciate you for listening, paying attention, watching. Thanks for the comments, the feedback, the messages. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate it. I'll jump right into it. I missed last week. I was headed out of town. Didn't think I'd make a very good video while I was driving at night. So try to double up this week. We'll see how it goes. But I'll get right into it. What I've been thinking about these past couple weeks is I've seen a lot, especially on social media, and I've seen some stuff, just people talking about the eclipse that's coming. And it reminded me of this, like I said, I've talked about Jim Rohn before. He has a really great comparison where he tells people that most people will spend more time planning a 1 week vacation with their friends or family than they'll spend planning their entire life. And when I see all this stuff posted about this eclipse that's coming, that's the first thing that came to mind is all these people are making all these huge plans to, be a certain place, be at a certain time, make all these arrangements, travel, be here, be there, do this, do that. People are spending so much of their life and their energy trying to plan for this eclipse. And I'm willing to bet that almost every single one of those exact same people have put in little to no time or less time planning their entire life than they have planning for this eclipse. This eclipse that's going to happen, it's going to be for a couple of minutes of their entire life. Most of these people are going to be 50, 60, 70, 80 years old, and they're going to spend more time planning 4 minutes of their life or planning around 4 minutes of their life than they will plan doing the rest of their entire life. And it's crazy to think about, but I'm definitely guilty of that. I'm somebody that just sort of goes and goes and goes, and I spend a lot of time on stuff that I shouldn't, and I don't spend a lot of time or enough time planning my life, my game plan, what direction I'm going, what I'm doing, who I'm doing it with. And I need to get better about that. And when I took a few days off and took vacation last week, vacation's not really good for me because I will spend a lot of time thinking about those kinds of things. Sometimes too much to a degree I probably shouldn't think about it. I start to wonder and start planning and start thinking about what path I'm on, how I got here. Is this where I'm supposed to be? Is this who I'm supposed to be spending my time with? Is this a direction I want to continue to go? Is this a chance for me to recalibrate, reset, and pivot and start going in a different direction? I start to question everything. I start to question my choices, my decisions, how I got where I am, where I want to be, how I got here. And I start to question everything. Like I said, I take it to a different degree that I probably shouldn't, but I start to question whether or not I live where I'm supposed to live. My profession is what I'm supposed to be doing, who I'm supposed to be doing this stuff with. And I start using like the 5 W's they taught you in elementary school: who, what, when, where, why. So I start to ask myself, when I start to plan my life or think about planning my life, I start with who. Who am I spending my time with? Who am I doing this for? Who am I paying attention to? Part of your diet, part of what you consume every single day is more than just what you put in your mouth. It's more than food and water, but it's also your intake. What you hear and what you see is definitely part of your diet. It will shape your behavior, and it will also change who you are as a person, because it's literally imprinting on your brain and on your mind what you think about and what you see all day. So I try to recalibrate and rethink and think about, who am I paying attention to? Who's missing from my life that I need? What types of influences do I need in my life? And who am I paying attention to that I need to stop paying attention to? Who am I spending my time with, my free time, my work time? Who are the people around me? And did I make a good choice of putting the right people around me to be where I want to be and doing the things I want to do? So who is a big question. That's probably the one thing that your parents probably told you when you're growing up, is to pick your friends wisely. And it's no different as an adult. You need to be very specific and choosy who you spend your time with, because these people are rubbing off on you and you're rubbing off on them. And it's much easier to pull somebody down than it is to pull them up. So if you're hanging around people that aren't right for you, I've done it. I still do it. So I'm definitely not saying I'm perfect in any way, but it's definitely something you need to be thinking about, is who am I spending my time with? And that's something I spent a lot of time thinking about this week, is who am I spending my time with? Who do I need to get into my life? Who do I need to get out of my life? Who do I need to stop spending time with? Who do I need to spend less time with? Like I said, who I need to pay attention to. I talked with you guys a little bit before about mentors. Mentors aren't always necessarily people who you meet and who you know, but it's people you pay attention to. So who I've been paying attention to probably needs to shift and change and pivot a little bit. I've been paying attention to people that aren't pulling me in the direction that I feel like I need to be going. So I need to pay attention to who I'm focusing my time and my energy on. And then what? So who and what? What am I doing? Like I asked myself at least 100 times in the past week, like, what am I doing with my life? What am I doing? What am I supposed to be doing? Is what I'm doing the right thing? Am I doing enough? And that's something else. It's not only what you're doing, but are you doing it to the right degree? Are you doing it on the right scale? So I asked myself that question a lot this week. What am I doing? What am I supposed to be doing? Is what I'm doing, being self-employed is difficult, but is what I'm doing problematic for me and extremely challenging because it's the path that I'm not supposed to be on, and I'm trying to force myself down this path. I can't accept a moderate success, or I can't accept a moderate failure and just move on to whatever path I'm supposed to be on. I keep trying to force this thing to work when it's not working, or I keep trying to make something better when it's already completely run its course, or whatever the case is. So and then I ask myself, for instance, like right now we have the automotive shop and we also have the furniture store, but I ask myself, am I supposed to have 5 of these auto shops? Like, have I been putting enough time and energy and effort into this to where I've got one location, I'm supposed to have 5? Am I supposed to have 7? Am I supposed to have 10? Same with the furniture store. Our store is 4,500 square feet. Am I supposed to have 45,000 square feet? So it's not a matter of, do I need to pivot and change directions and quit what I'm doing and do something else? It's, is this the right thing? Am I doing it at the right scale? What am I doing? And I spent a lot of time thinking about this past week, and I don't know that I got the answer, but I reminded myself that I need to be thinking about this more often, and I'm going to make, a habit for myself to be thinking and to be asking myself on a much more regular basis, who, what, when, where, and why. So what I'm doing is, I'm still uncertain. I know there's a lot of people that for some reason they just happen to know exactly what they want out of life. They know what direction they want to go. They know what things they want to achieve. They know what sort of family unit they want to have. They know what sort of profession they want to have, and they just go and do, and things seem effortless for them. Unfortunately, I'm not one of those people. I probably overanalyze things. I make things harder than they have to be. I don't know what direction I'm supposed to be going most of the time. I feel like I'm responding and reacting to circumstances, and it seems like every time I take one step forward, it's 2 steps back. And I think you probably all heard that I believe it's Tony Robbins that says that we're all like a vessel at sea. We're all like a ship at sea. And if you don't have a destination in mind, if you don't set sail and go in a specific direction, and if, for instance, there's a storm, if you don't weather the storm and then point your ship back in that same direction and get going in that direction, no matter what happens, you continue on this path and on this direction because you know exactly where your destination is and where you're going. Where most folks are a ship at sea with no direction, no destination. They don't even have their sail up, and they are just being blown in whatever direction life is taking them. Whatever direction the wind blows, they're being blown that way. Whatever direction the current's going, they're getting pulled that way. And I know for sure that that's a lot of what my life has been. Is I will pursue something and I don't even know why. I don't think it through. I just go after something, and then I realize, whether it's hours, minutes, days, weeks, months, and years later, I like come out of a trance, and I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this thing? Why do I have this behavior? Why do I have this profession? Why am I doing this job? Why am I doing this? Or what am I doing? I guess not why, but what am I doing? So I know for sure, without having a set destination and a set direction in life, you and me will get pulled in whatever direction the wind or the current takes us. So that's something I need to be really, really focused on, is what am I doing, and where is my destination? What direction am I supposed to be going? And then when. I didn't think about this one as much, but it's clear to me that, I'm 42. I'll be 43 this year. When is like, if I can't do it yesterday, I need to do it now. Like, there is not a lot of runway left for somebody at my age. Yes, of course, 42 is young in the grand scheme of life. But if I take a step back and look at this from a distance, 42 is not young. Like, I am no longer in my prime. I'm no longer moving mountains. I'm no longer able to do the things I could do when I was in my 20s and my 30s. And when I think about, for instance, scaling a business, if I'm 42 and I take out a commercial loan for 20 years, and I pay that loan off, I'm going to be 62 when that loan gets paid off. If I take that loan out today, not counting what's going to happen over the next couple of years, but if I take a 20-year loan out, the term's 20. If I take a commercial loan out, the term's 20 years. I'm going to pay that loan off when I'm 62. So that tells me that I'm probably not going to be 52 and taking out a 20-year commercial loan. So my window of what it is I'm supposed to be doing and when I'm supposed to be doing it is closing, and it's closing rapidly. Like, I have to figure out what I'm doing, and I need to figure it out now, because time is a wasting, and I've let a lot of time go. I spent way too much time on things that didn't matter, and now I'm trying to hurry up and sprint towards the finish line and get as many things done as I possibly can. And I need to have a sense of urgency about myself when it comes to getting whatever it is I set out to do and getting it done quickly, not procrastinating, not putting it off till tomorrow, but getting it done and getting it done now. So that's just something that I don't put enough thought into. I think that, I'm young, I'm healthy, I can do this, I want to retire young enough to enjoy it. And if I'm still building a business into my 50s, what exactly am I going to have time to enjoy? So it's just something I spent some time thinking about, is when. It really needs to be like yesterday, 6 months ago, 6 years ago, 16 years ago. Those days are gone. That window has closed. That opportunity is over with. I have right now, and that is the timeline that I'm working on, is when is right now. So just something to think about for you too. Try to zoom out of your life and look at your life and figure out where it is you're trying to go and when and how you're trying to get there, what you're trying to do, and realize what your window of time looks like. If you're younger than me, if you're older than me, if you have bigger aspirations than I do, if you have smaller aspirations, I spend a lot of time. People that are close to me know that, like, I would like to travel. I like to travel. I want to spend some time in other countries. I want to spend some time in Colombia, Panama. I've been to these countries. I want to go back. I want to travel Europe. There's tons of 50 and 60 or 70-year-old people traveling Europe, traveling South and Central America. I want to be physically active, and I want to be having a good time when I'm doing it. I don't want to be carrying around a bunch of pill bottles and having doctor's appointments I got to come home to, and I don't want to be on a walker. I don't want to be on oxygen. I want to be young and healthy, and I don't know when those things are coming for me. Someday I'm probably going to be on oxygen. Someday I'm probably going to need a walker. I don't know when that's coming, and I need to, like I said, have a little sense of urgency about me to get these things done so I can go do these things that I want to do. And enjoy. I had one of my friends tell me, like, I hope, she made a comment about me smoking cigars, and she's like, hey, I'm not going to tell you should quit, but, like, don't you want to, be young and healthy and be able to breathe to enjoy the success that you've had? And if you are able to retire young at some point, don't you want to be active and physically able to go do the things that you say you want to do? So it's a really good point when it comes to smoking cigars. But with that being said, I'm just saying, like, it's now. For me, it's now or never. I am probably going to feel very differently about building a business. And like I said, whether it's one Crowley tire or 10 Crowley tires, whether it's a 4,000 square foot furniture store versus a 50,000 square foot furniture store, I'm going to feel very differently about those things when I'm 52 than right now. So there is no way to roll the clock back and go back and do it differently. But what I can look at right now is Start from where you are with what you have, and this is what I've got right now, and the time is now. So hopefully that resonates with you a little bit, and you can look at your life and figure out what it is you're supposed to be doing it, who you're supposed to be doing it with, and when you're supposed to be doing it. So my recommendation is, do not procrastinate, do not wait till tomorrow, do not think about later. Life is short, life is precious, you never know what's going to happen, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be in your life. It could be one of your kids, it could be your parents, it could be a brother or a sister. I talked to a friend today, his brother just got diagnosed with a severe, with a very advanced aggressive cancer, and he's got just a couple days to live. Like literally it happens that fast. So when? Right now. You know, you can't do it yesterday, but you can do it right now. So put down the TV remote, put down the social media, put down the Netflix, put down the ball game, like turn everything off and figure it out. Figure out that you are running out of time, and even if you live to be 80, you're not gonna be laying in your deathbed and be thinking, oh man, I sure wish I would have watched more Netflix, or man, I sure wish I would have caught that ball game, or man, I sure wish I would have spent more time on TikTok or Facebook. Put it down. Like if you're watching this, you've seen enough today, right now, just put it down and get after it. Like you don't need to watch and listen to anything else that I'm saying. Just stop right now and just go do your thing. Figure it out and do it now. Don't wait. Don't do anything else besides figure it out. So who, what, when, where? Like I kind of mentioned earlier, like I don't even know if I'm where I'm supposed to be. How I ended up in Texas. Everybody has, you know, crazy stories that happened to them. You know, I ended up in Texas in kind of a weird situation, but when I got here, it felt like home. Like I felt like I needed to be here. I felt like, and a lot of it was trying to get out of a situation that I was in. So when I got to Texas, it felt like home. It felt when I always tell people when I first moved here that I came from a small town, and I always tell people I felt like a shark in a goldfish bowl. Like I just didn't feel like I belonged. I felt out of place. I didn't feel like there was enough to do, enough going on. So I had to be in a bigger city, in a bigger place. And when I got to Texas, I got to DFW in the late 90s. Like I loved it here. There was a lot going on. There were things to do. I was up to no good, and there was plenty of no good around. So it was easy. It was fun. It was cool. Now I'm older, and I think about things differently. So when I was on vacation this week, I was out in the country, I was out in the woods, and that is much more appealing now than it ever was before. A much smaller town, so many fewer people. And I enjoyed it much more. And every time I take my camper out or I pull my trailer out somewhere, like I enjoy that more now than I enjoy being in the big city. So I even question, like, am I where I'm supposed to be? It's a big planet we live on. There's a big earth here. Like there's a lot of, there's you know, continents and countries and islands and different cultures and different climates. I mean, I was telling my friend the other day, like, the weather in Texas is terrible. Like it feels like we're going for a high score constantly. We're going for, you know, the most amount of days with the highest temperature, or most amount of days over 100, you know, most consecutive days over 100, longest days with no rain, most rainfall in a single day, highest wind gust, you know, longest cold weather, longest freeze. I mean, it's just constantly, Texas is going for some sort of high score. And I question, like, hey, am I even supposed to be here? Is this my home? Is this where I'm supposed to put down roots and be? So I even question that, like, did I come here for selfish reasons? Did I force myself to stay here for selfish reasons? And no matter how bad it got, did I stick it out when really those were signals and signs from God that I was not supposed to be here, and I forced it, and I ignored those signs and signals, and I forced it to work, and I made it work. But am I really at a place? Am I even supposed to be here? So I think about that. I thought about it a lot this week. So it's going to be on my mind. All this stuff's going to be on my mind. So who, what, when, where, and why? Why? Oh my gosh. This is the one that, when is important. You know, all these are important. Who is important? What is important? Why? Where? But why? Why is so important? Why am I doing this? Why? What's driving me to do this? Why do I do these things? Why am I pursuing these goals? Why am I pursuing this path? Why do I spend the time doing the things that I do? Everything from my morning routine to my night routine to my work schedule, my habits, my, the organizations that I join, running for city council, being on the Chamber of Commerce as a board of director, like all these things, I'm asking myself, okay, why did I do these things? And a lot of these things is obviously I want to contribute. I want to make a difference. I feel like, for instance, when it comes to Crowley Tire and Auto Service, I feel like the business it's a tough business. It's a hard business. It's got a bad reputation, but I wanted to have a little piece of this industry be done right, be done in a certain way. Is it ever going to be perfect? No. Is it ever going to be fun? Nah, it's not really a fun industry. It's not really a fun job to have. You can make it fun by working around the right people, but the specific industry is hard. Automotive repair is hard. People think it's easy with YouTube videos and being a parts changer, and everybody that can Google where AutoZone is, or Google or search a YouTube video, thinks they're a mechanic, right? So it's a difficult industry, and the industry has a black eye already, especially for decades and decades of people doing it the wrong way. But I wanted to bring some transparency to the industry, even if it's just on a small little piece of dirt in where I live. I wanted to bring some transparency and some honesty and like trustworthiness to the industry. That doesn't mean that everybody's bad out there. There's a lot of great technicians. There's a lot of great shop owners. There's a lot of great service writers, general managers. There's a bunch of them out there. It's just that there's so few in comparison to the bad ones, and the bad ones are, have such a stranglehold on the industry. It's difficult to try to sway public opinion about the industry, but I wanted to do it right. And I tell some people the story that a lot of the reason why I ended up in cars and automotive, especially in automotive repair, is when I was younger, we didn't call for help. If we had a problem at our house, if we had a problem with one of our cars, if we had a problem with our plumbing, our electrical, our roof, or like I said, one of our cars, like, we didn't call for help. We didn't have that kind of money. You don't call for help when you can't afford to pay the person you call. So you do a lot of figuring it out. You got to figure stuff out when you don't have money. So when you don't have money, you got time, and that's really what you got to do, is use your time to figure it out, because you don't have money to call a mechanic. You can't. You don't even have money to tow it to a mechanic. So we did a lot of repairing our own cars, and I learned a lot in that process. And when I got into automotive, one of the reasons why I got into automotive was I remember being really young and our cars being broke down a lot. Like I said, we didn't have a lot of money, so we weren't driving new cars. We weren't driving barely used cars. We were driving used old cars, and they broke down a lot. That's what they did. But I remember a lot of times we had to work on our car. If our car broke down on a Saturday or Sunday, like that's all we did. If it was a 24-hour thing, that's all we did until it was fixed, because somebody needed that car to go to work on Monday. Typically my stepdad, if our truck broke down, like we got it. We had one of his brothers or one of our other aunts and uncles, come pull us to the house with a chain. And we figured it out. We had to work on that car until it was running. And if that meant we worked on it all day Saturday, all night Saturday night, all day Sunday, all night Sunday night, that's what we did until that car ran. So that's sort of what pulled me into this industry, was, wanting to be able to solve people's problems, because I know how difficult it is. I know how challenging it is. These cars have changed a lot over the years, but one of the reasons why I ended up in this industry is because I wanted to help people. And I understand how difficult it is when your car breaks down, how big of an inconvenience that is, how hard it is to be without your car. For years, after my parents divorced, before my mom met my stepdad, if something happened with our car, like, what was my mom going to do? She's a single mom with two really young boys. Like, what, who's going to fix the car, right? So I just had those memories, and for whatever reason, that's what drove me into automotive. So Crowley Tire means a lot to me, because I want to help, bring some integrity back to an industry that doesn't have a lot. I want to do it for the right reasons. I want to help people. I also really enjoy creating jobs. I like creating work for other people. It's impossible. I've seen people try to run a shop by themselves. They try to do everything. They're a really good mechanic, or they're really decent. They're a really decent mechanic, and they don't like the way their business is run that they work at. They don't like their boss. They don't like their employer. They don't like the system. So they go out there and try to do it on their own. I got all the admiration in the world for those guys because I know what it takes. But to try to pull in enough work to take care of yourself, to try to pull in enough work to pay the bills, to have to answer every phone call, order every part, quote every customer, and have enough consistency in your work, because it's boom or bust most of the time when you're self-employed. It's either all at once or not at all, and it's very frustrating and difficult. So all those guys out there going at it alone, man, I got a lot of respect for you. I know how hard it is. But anyway, so once you get to a point where you can start employing people, man, it's a really good feeling, because you can start seeing the impact that you have on the people around you. You can start seeing, when you create this job, every time I hire somebody, I look at, this isn't just a person. Like, I'm bringing this person on for a reason to serve a purpose here in this business, but also this person has a family and they have responsibilities. They have a house payment, they have a car payment, they have insurance, they have a wife, they have kids. Like, this isn't a game, this isn't a joke. Like, when we bring people in, most of the time as an employer, I'm taking this way more serious than the person that's applying for the job. So it's a serious thing. It's important to me. And like I said, I have employees now. I'd like to have 80 employees. I'd like to have 180 employees. I'd like to have a much bigger business because I enjoy it. I see the effect that our business has on the community and the people around us, how it affects the community, how it affects the jobs in the community. Every time we order a part from O'Reilly, AutoZone, XL, all these other part suppliers, that's providing a job to somebody else. The drivers, the people that work the parts counters, the truck drivers that bring the parts on the 18-wheeler. This is like an ecosystem that I enjoy being a part of, and I want to be a bigger part of it. But that part of the reason why I enjoy being a business owner is for that reason. Same with the furniture store. I like solving problems, and that's what Crowley Tire does. We solve problems, whether it's a flat tire, an oil change, a state inspection, air conditioner's not working, your motor's making noise. We solve problems. And it's the same thing with the furniture store. People are moving, they want to buy new furniture. People are replacing old furniture. People bought crap, cheap furniture that online, they got shipped to their house in a box and they put it together and it's a pile of junk. People in life transitions. We meet people every single day that are moving cross country, across the state. We meet people that are getting married. We meet people that are getting divorced. Like, we're helping people furnish their homes. It's not always just fun and games. Yes, of course, it's cool and fun to get something that you want, something that you like, and it's neat to have cool, new, nice stuff, especially when it comes to wood furniture. It's awesome, but we're really solving a problem, and that's the part that I enjoy the most, is solving a problem. So when I say why, like, I know I want to solve problems. I just don't know if I'm solving the right problems. I don't know if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, because at Crowley Tire I can solve problems, and at the furniture I can solve problems, but I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. I don't know if I'm solving the right problems, and that's something I need to spend some time thinking about. All those things. So I hope you ask yourself those same questions. And I know I've been talking really fast. I'm kind of half zoned out. Long week. I got up at 4 o'clock this morning. Drove back from Oklahoma, worked all day. So I've been rambling really, really fast, I know, but ask yourself these questions: who, what, when, where, and why. Ask yourself those 5 questions. And then also ask yourself if you spent more time planning your weekend than you spend planning your life. Ask yourself if you spend more time planning your vacation than you spend planning your life. Ask yourself if you spend more time planning to see a solar eclipse than you spend planning your life. Yes, I understand a solar eclipse is a big deal. I get it. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I totally understand that. It's also only going to last for 4 minutes. You live every single day. Every single day of your life you're living. And 4 minutes is 4 minutes, but you're going to be alive a long time. So anyway, I rambled enough for you guys. Like I said, I cut you guys short a video last week, so I'll see if I can make an extra one for you this week. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Thanks for listening. Thanks for paying attention. Thanks for the feedback. Y'all be good. Y'all take good. Y'all be good. Y'all take good care of each other, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.